Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're jumping into Sam Altman's recent TED 2025 talk.
That's right. We're using the transcript from the YouTube video, looking at his views on, well, everything. OpenAI, ChatGPT, AI agents, the whole path towards superintelligence.
And our goal here really is to unpack all of that for you. What are the key insights about where AI is now and where someone like Altman sees it going? What does it mean for us?
For individuals, for society, yeah. It's a big picture.
Definitely. And he started with some pretty eye-catching demos, didn't he? Showing off Sora.
Yeah, the text-to-image, text-to-video stuff.
He did that shocking revelations at TED prompt. It looked, well, quite realistic.
It really did. In that diagram he generated, intelligence versus consciousness.
Ah, yeah, that stuck with me. Simple, but made you think.
And what's really interesting there, I think, is that these things aren't separate tools anymore.
Mm.
He made the point that Sora, this new image model, it's actually integrated into GPT-4.
Okay, so it's like GPT-4 is the brain and Sora gives it eyes, or a way to draw.
Something like that, yeah. It's using that core intelligence to generate visual output. It's not just making pictures. It's showing a kind of visual reasoning almost.
Interesting. Okay, so let's get into the first big theme, AI and the workforce. Ullman sounded, well, pretty optimistic, didn't he?
He did. He framed AI as a tool, something that boosts human capabilities. He drew parallels to, like, past tech revolutions.
Right, the idea that jobs change, but overall we can do more, we adapt.
Exactly. It's that historical pattern argument. Think about computers coming in on lots of fear then, too.
Sure.
But his view is, okay, some roles shift, automation happens, but often new roles emerge, productivity goes up. Though he did acknowledge the real concerns people have.
Yeah, he mentioned management consultants, for example, people whose jobs involve a lot of analysis that AI might start doing.
Right. That's a valid point.
Yeah.
The expectations for what we can achieve are just going to increase dramatically with these tools.
It does make you wonder what work even means down the line. He talked about that proactive AI assistant idea.
Like in the movie Her.
Yeah. Kind of pushes helpful info at you, anticipates things. It sounds amazing, but also maybe a little strange.
It definitely raises questions. If AI handles the routine stuff, maybe even some complex problem solving, what does that leave for us?
Higher level strategy, pure creativity, things needing that human touch like empathy.
Could be. Those increased capabilities he mentioned will definitely force a rethink of job descriptions, skills, everything, really.
Okay, shifting gears a bit. He moved on to creativity, copyright, and maybe new ways to pay creators.
Yeah, that whole complex area, the Charlie Brown example generated by AI was pretty neat.
It showed the potential, for sure. And he commented on how much better the writing quality is getting in the models.
But then, boom, you hit the IP issues.
Right. Is it theft? Is it just inspiration? Where's the line?
It's tricky. Altman admitted it can look like infringement, especially early on. OpenAI says they try not to generate stuff in the style of living artists now.
But the influence question is still there, isn't it? Like you said, creators always build on what came before.
Exactly. And that Carol Cadwalladr example he used.
Oh, yeah, generating a talk in her style without asking.
Even if it wasn't perfect, it was close. And it raises huge questions about consent, about, well, compensation too.
So how do we pay artists if AI can mimic styles so easily?
That's the core challenge, isn't it? Altman floated the idea of new economic models, like maybe calculating revenue share if someone specifically prompts for an artist style and that artist opts in.
In principle, maybe.
But he admitted actually doing that is incredibly complex.
And you see creatives reacting all over the map, right? Some are excited, see it as a new tool.
Totally. Amplifying their own work.
Others are, understandably, worried about their work being devalued or just ripped off.
Yeah, it's that difference between feeling like your work inspired something new versus feeling like it was just taken. That's key.
So we need these new models, new rules, basically, to support creators but still let AI creativity happen.
Precisely. Finding that balance is going to be crucial for, well, for everyone involved.
Then the conversation turned towards open source. Models like DeepSeek putting pressure on OpenAI.
Seems like it.
Yeah.
And Altman's response was interesting. He basically said, yeah, okay, we're going to release a powerful open source model soon.
Really?
Yeah.
Like near the cutting edge.
That's what he implied. Near the frontier, he called it.
Yeah.
Better than what's out there now in open source. He kind of admitted they were maybe a bit behind on that curve, but are planning to catch up.
So a shift in strategy.
Potentially, yeah. Recognizing they need to play in that space too, not just keep everything proprietary.
But even with releasing an open source model, he sounded confident OpenAI would stay ahead.
He did. His argument wasn't just about having the absolute strongest model, though. It was more about the whole package.
The product, like how easy it is
Mhm.
to use, the integration.
Exactly. And things like memory making the AI remember you, your past conversations, building a great product, not just a model. That was his emphasis.
That memory feature they launched or enhanced,
Yeah.
feels like a big deal.
It really is. It moves ChatGPT away from just being a one-off question-answer thing.
Right, towards something more like an ongoing conversation. It learns about you.
And that ties right back into the proactive assistant idea, doesn't it?
Ah, yeah. If it remembers what you're working on, what you care about.
It can start anticipating what you need, offering help before you even ask. That's the extension of yourself idea he mentioned, like from her.
So looking even further ahead, what areas did he say he was most excited about?
Top of the list was science.
Hmm.
Using AI to massively speed up scientific discovery,
How so?
making scientists way more productive, helping find, room temperature superconductors, maybe new disease treatments, big fundamental breakthroughs.
Wow, okay. That's huge if it pans out.
It's a vision with enormous implications, yeah. Amplifying human intelligence in the lab.
He also mentioned software development again, said another big leap is coming soon there.
He did. And he shared those stories about engineers having these, religious-like moments.
Right, where the AI helped them do years' worth of work in an afternoon.
Yeah. It really shows the kind of impact these tools are already having, right now in specific fields.
Of course, with all this power comes the safety question, the risks.
Definitely. Altman addressed the scary scenarios people imagine.
Mhm.
He was clear, we're not hiding conscious AI in the basement.
Okay, reassuring. So what are the real risks they're focused on?
He pointed to misuse of powerful models, things like bioterrorism, cybersecurity attacks. That's a major one.
Makes sense.
And then the longer term stuff, like what happens if we get genuinely self-improving systems? How do we maintain control? He also mentioned disinformation quickly, too.
And they have that preparedness framework for checking safety.
Yeah, their internal process. Testing models for potential harms before they get released to the public. Trying to be proactive.
Which brings us to AGI, artificial general intelligence. Seems like the definition itself is still debated.
Oh, very much so. Altman joked you'd get different answers from different researchers, even within OpenAI.
So why isn't ChatGPT considered AGI then? What's missing?
Well, he pointed out key limitations. It doesn't learn continuously in the same way humans do across all kinds of different areas.
Okay.
It can't just decide to master a totally new, complex field on its own. And it can't, autonomously do everything required for a real-world job. It still needs human guidance for complex, independent action.
So rather than trying to define that exact AGI moment.
Yeah, he kind of shifted the focus.
Mm-hmm.
Said it's more about managing the continuous increase in capabilities safely.
Like the journey is more important than the destination, safety-wise.
That's a good way to put it. Focus on building robust safety that keeps pace with the power, because the power is just going to keep growing, likely exponentially.
Got it. And then there's agentic AI. That seems more concrete, more near-term.
Right, AI that can actually do things, pursue goals autonomously.
Like the operator example he gave for booking restaurants.
Exactly. An AI that doesn't just talk but acts on your behalf.
Which sounds super convenient, but also raises flags, right? Giving AI internet access, letting it take actions. Joshua Bengio has raised concerns there.
For sure. It's a new level of autonomy. Altman used the analogy of people first being nervous about using credit cards online.
Ah, okay. New tech, initial distrust.
Yeah, but with agents, safety and capability are even more tightly linked. You have to trust it if it's acting for you.
And the risk of misuse with open source models acting as agents? That sounds worrying, like someone setting loose AI to spread misinformation automatically.
He acknowledged that concern, yeah, but also pointed back to their internal red lines and the preparedness framework, saying they are thinking about how to mitigate those dangers.
What about slowing down development? Did he think that was possible or desirable?
His take was interesting. He's suggested it kind of happens naturally to some extent.
How so?
Well, limitations in the tech itself, safety holdups, making sure things actually work properly. These act as natural breaks sometimes. And he also mentioned there's generally communication and a shared sense of caution among most of the big AI labs, with one unnamed exception he hinted at.
Interesting. He also talked about a recent policy change, something about the image model.
Yeah, regarding harmful speech generation. They apparently adjusted it to allow users more freedom within societal limits based on wider user feedback.
So less based on what a small group thinks is okay, more on broader input.
That was the idea. It highlights that tricky balance, doesn't it? Collective values versus individual freedom in AI development. Who decides?
That's a massive shower.
And he even floated the idea that AI itself might eventually help us make better collective decisions.
How? By processing more info, different viewpoints.
Potentially, yeah. Helping us navigate complex governance issues more wisely. That's a really far out thought, but interesting.
Towards the end, the questions got more personal. About his role, the moral authority question.
Right. His response came back to the OpenAI mission. Safe and beneficial AGI for everyone. He did concede that tactics change, and maybe more open sourcing is needed now.
Acknowledging things evolve.
Yeah, adapting the approach while keeping the core mission in sight. That seemed to be his message.
He also pushed back on the ring of power idea, the criticism about the for-profit structure making it about money or control.
He stuck to his line. It's about building insanely cool things. That's his motivation. Of course, it's hard for outsiders to judge intent when the stakes are this high.
True. It's a complex mix of technology, business, and, well, potential global impact.
Absolutely. And his comment about feeling sort of normal despite it all was quite striking too. Like, this is just his life now.
And then he talked about becoming a father, how that changed his perspective.
Yeah, reinforcing his commitment to a positive future. His vision for his son's world was quite something.
What was it again?
A world with incredibly smart tech, material abundance, super rapid change, and individual potential far beyond what we have today.
And he hoped future generations would look back at us with pity and nostalgia.
Exactly. Pity for our limitations, nostalgia for maybe the simplicity. It's a powerful image to leave us with.
Okay, so let's try to wrap this deep dive up. The big takeaway seems to be that AI's evolution, in Altman's view, isn't just about smarter algorithms.
No, it's much more fundamental. It's about how these systems integrate into our lives as tools, maybe even companions, driving science, changing the economy.
They're becoming woven into the fabric of existence, really.
But, and this is the crucial but, all this progress comes loaded with huge ethical questions, safety challenges.
Right. The future of work, IP rights, misuse potential, controlling autonomous agents. These aren't small hurdles.
Not at all. And they need constant attention, not just from developers, but from everyone. A societal conversation.
Which leads perfectly into our final thought for you listening. Thinking about Altman's future vision, parts of it exciting, parts maybe unsettling, what aspects stand out most to you?
Yeah, what gets you excited? And maybe more importantly, what downsides worry you the most? What needs urgent focus, proactive solutions from all of us?
What role do you see yourself playing or wanting to play in shaping this future that's unfolding right now? Lots to think about.
Definitely. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.